When I decorated our home, my husband's family showed up and replaced everything, smiling. A wife follows the husband's family style. My husband shrugged. It's just how it is, smiling. I let them finish, then the next morning they returned to a house that left them in absolute shock. I'm in my late 30s, live in a suburb just outside Cincinnati, Ohio. I work full-time as a remote interior decorator. I've been married to Roy for 5 years. Roy's family is the kind of family that believes tradition matters more than common sense. They do things one way, their way, and they expect everyone to fall in line. I didn't grow up like that, so from the start, I knew we'd clash. I just didn't expect it to happen like this. About 2 years ago, Roy and I bought a house together, or that's what he likes to say. In reality, I paid the down payment. My name is the only name on the deed. That's important, and we'll come back to that later. We moved into a modest but beautiful 3-bedroom house. Real hardwood floors, big backyard, clean lines. I saw potential. I knew I could turn it into something beautiful. Roy didn't care much about the look of the house. He always said, "You're the design expert. Do what you want." And that's exactly what I did. For the next several months, I poured every bit of my time and energy into making that house feel like home. I didn't throw money around recklessly. I made mood boards, sketched out layouts, did some DIY projects, and sourced a lot of things secondhand and vintage. It was warm, clean, modern, cozy. It finally felt like ours, or at least mine, in the sense that I had finally built the environment I wanted to live in. And then his family came over. It was a Sunday afternoon in September. Roy told me his family wanted to come by and see the house. He said they'd only be there for a couple of hours. Cool. I baked some muffins, brewed coffee, set out some cheese and crackers. I even lit a candle. At 1 p.m., the whole family pulled up, his parents, his 2 sisters, and a cousin. I opened the door expecting smiles and compliments. Instead, I got Delia, his mother. "Oh, this is very modern." Tess, his sister, "It doesn't feel like a family home." Ed, his father, grunted and looked at the wall. I thought it was just the usual passive-aggressive stuff they always did. I was wrong. They stayed longer than planned, a lot longer. Around 3:30 p.m., I was cleaning up in the kitchen when I noticed Tess and Delia whispering in the living room. 10 minutes later, Roy and his dad went out to help bring something in from the car. That something turned out to be 3 giant boxes. Then a roll-up rug, then another painting, then a new curtain rod. I was standing there watching them bring in box after box of furniture, decorations, kitchenware, even lamps, like they were moving into our house. I asked Roy, "What the hell is going on?" He avoided eye contact, and said, "They just brought some things they thought we'd like. It's not a big deal." Then Delia turned to me with this smug little smile and said, "A wife follows the husband's family's style. That's tradition." I didn't answer. I couldn't. Because I looked around and saw that Roy wasn't stopping them. They were already taking things off the walls. They moved my handcrafted coffee table into the garage without asking. Replaced my soft white curtains with heavy burgundy ones. They literally unscrewed my light fixture, and replaced it with a brass one Delia had in storage. They shoved all my handmade vases, bowls, and ceramic decor into boxes and put up framed Bible quotes, fake flowers, and oil paintings that looked like they were stolen from a church basement. I kept looking at Roy, thinking he'd say something. He didn't. When I finally confronted him, he just said, "It's just how it is. They're trying to help." No, they weren't helping. They were taking over. But I said nothing. Not yet. I sat quietly on the couch for the next 2 hours, watching them redecorate my house like I didn't even live there. They acted like I was invisible. Delia kept giving directions like she was the general of a design army. Molly was hanging religious wall art while talking about energy flow. Tess took down my handmade curtains and folded them like they were trash. No one asked permission. No one cared what I thought. Roy just stood there watching sports on his phone, occasionally helping them lift things. By 7 p.m., the house looked like a retirement home. Heavy colors, mismatched furniture, fake ivy vines draped over the door frames, and 3 massive paintings of Jesus on the walls. My house didn't feel like home anymore. It felt like someone else's storage unit. After they left, I didn't yell, I didn't cry. I just walked into our bedroom, sat on the edge of the bed, and stared at the wall. Roy walked in and said, "Don't be mad, you know how my family is." That sentence broke something in me. I asked him, "Do you like what they did?" He shrugged. "I mean, I don't really care. It's just stuff." I said nothing. I turned off the lamp and went to sleep. But I didn't sleep. I stayed awake all night staring at the ceiling, planning. I knew one thing for sure, they were going to keep coming. They would keep bringing more of their style. And Roy wouldn't stop them. I had 2 options, fight them now and look crazy and emotional, or let them finish and end it all in one clean sweep. I picked the second one. First, I went online and rented a large storage unit a few towns over. Then I texted my friend Theo, who owns a moving and junk haul service. Years ago, I helped him design his office for free. He still owed me. I told him I needed everything in the house removed quickly and quietly. And not just taken away, I wanted my things returned and their things gone. Donated, discarded, destroyed, I didn't care. We set a time for late Friday night. Meanwhile, I smiled and nodded at every new gift they brought during the week. I acted grateful. I even made cookies. Tess brought over a grandfather clock. I said, wow, that's lovely. Delia suggested redoing the kitchen cabinets in oak. I said, maybe next month. They had no idea, not one clue. Friday came faster than I expected. By then, the house looked even worse. Delia had replaced our modern kitchen stools with these massive carved wooden chairs that didn't fit under the counter. Molly brought in this huge floral love seat that reeked of lavender-scented old lady perfume. Tess added a giant cross above the TV. Even the doormat got swapped out with one that read, "Bless this mess." They weren't joking, and Roy, still silent, still useless, every time I brought it up, he'd say, "Don't overreact. It's not worth a fight." It was worth a fight, but not the kind he was expecting. At 11:30 p.m., Theo showed up with 3 guys and 2 trucks. They worked fast, quiet, professional. By 1:45 a.m., everything his family had brought in was gone. I didn't even want to see it anymore. Some of it went straight into Theo's donation pile. Some to trash. I didn't ask, I didn't care. By 2:30 a.m., my home was back. My couch, my shelves, my lighting, my handmade ceramic bowls. The bamboo light fixture I installed with my own hands. Now you can watch the second part by pressing share and more.